The regular season finales are upon us. It'll be good to get into these games. It'll be really good for this season to come to an end for teams like my Cardinals. I'm excited about this. Even though I'm not even necessarily excited for the offseason because there's just a ton of question marks. But one way or another, we're going to close things out. There are just a couple of playoff implications left for teams getting in. There are a few seeding implications. I'm making up new words now. It's like amplification. That's a new word. So, Michael, let's do this thing. Here we go.
Let's jump in.
All right. So we're using the NFL Pick'em site. They just have like these lovely little Pick'em sheets here, and it's great. So we're going to get started with a couple of Saturday games. We've got the Panthers going to play the Bucs, and one of the remaining playoff win and in kind of scenarios, asterisk, because the Bucs need a little bit of help. So who do you have winning this one first off?
And it's a tough one. Neither team's really playing particularly well. They're both coming off losses. The Bucs are just finding ways to lose. I think you were looking at that the other day. It just, man, how precipitous their fall has really been. Panthers look really good, and then they don't. So this is a crapshoot. I'm gonna pick the Panthers to. I was gonna say upset the Bucs. At this point in time, it doesn't even necessarily feel like an upset. It's a very 50-50 matchup, but I'll take the Panthers in this one. See if they can get their run game going and close the door here, I guess. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, something tells me that's what's going to happen, but I won't be shocked if it's something kind of anticlimactic. Like, I believe what has to happen for the Bucs to get in is for them to win, obviously, but then I think for the Falcons to lose on Sunday. Which could happen. The Saints have won 4 in a row, but the Falcons are playing better as well. So we'll see. And that would be more entertaining from the outside to see it come down like that. I like either the Panthers or the Bucs. They're both fun. So, but yeah, there's also some amazing symmetry to it being 3 teams, 8 and 9. If the Falcons did win, it's just hilarious. The NFC South is a funny place.
Yeah.
So last Saturday night, we've got the Seahawks going to play the Niners, and one of the best games of the week. The Niners, I don't want to say people have been sleeping on because they really don't, because they have a huge audience. It's the Niners. But everyone for a while, it seemed like the season was just talking about Seahawks, Rams, Seahawks, Rams, Seahawks, Rams. And the Niners are like creeping up just right there behind them, keeping pace. And if they win this game, they not only, I believe, are the NFC West champs, they are the they are the NFC 1 seed. So they're kind of shocking some people right now, and good for them. I mean, I hate everything about this, but good for them. The Seahawks, on the other hand, are still playing really well. That defense is killing it. They just smothered the Panthers last week. So I don't think that, as much as I like the Niners, I don't think this is going to be a blowout. So who do you have winning here?
This is easily easily. This is definitely the hardest one I can think of to predict. I think both of these teams are playing so well. If we're just going off of trend off of last week, I would have to take the 49ers only in the fact that I think they had the more difficult opponent. I was somewhat uncertain as to their ability to score lots of points against a team that had a pretty good defense and all of that. They did that against the Bears. They just seem to be hitting on all cylinders, in particular on offense. Seahawks don't have a lot of problems either. It's just, if I was going to pick off momentum, I'd stick with the 49ers here at home.
Yeah, that makes sense. It should be close. This could be one of those that comes down to the wire, 30-27, or maybe it's a lower scoring game and defenses actually show up. That hasn't been the Niners' MO this year.
Yeah.
We'll see. So getting into the Sunday games, we've got the Saints going to play the Falcons. The Saints, neither team has any playoff implications, but both seem like they're trying to go into next year on a high note. The Falcons can creep all the way back to 8 and 9. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, they can mess with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers aspirations. So it could be fun there. The Saints are kind of, like I said, they're kind of getting into a rhythm. Obviously, it's too little too late. But again, they want to be a team that goes into next year with some optimism to attract free agents and, to eliminate any worry that they're going to fire their coaches, that kind of thing. So keep that continuity going. Who do you have winning here?
Yeah, it seems so strange that we are talking about these teams ending on the same record, basically. So after just how badly the Saints have played. Um, yeah, I mean, at this point in time, I think the Saints kind of almost look like the better team. Like when Tyler's rolling, like they look pretty good. The Falcons did come off that win against the Rams, which in the smallest words I would call improbable. So Bijan Robinson is that kind of whole team, it feels like, though. So can he put up the same kind of numbers he did against the Saints this week? The Saints defense, I think, has been kind of bolstering this team. I kind of think that he has a chance to do it, but I think the Saints are a little bit more balanced in their approach. I'm actually going to take the Saints in this one to pull off another improbable game. I don't know. I just think that division plays itself strange. This will be one of my underdog kind of picks on this one. More of a gut feel than a, hey, I think the math all adds up in one direction. I'll admit it up front.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of lost for this one, to be honest. I have no idea who's going to win. I feel like Kirk Cousins is playing fairly well right now, and that, again, Bijan Robinson is just he's just killing it. He's at 2250 for scrimmage yards this year. So the odds of him catching CJ2K at 2,500 are pretty slim, but I guess anything could happen if he has that real breakout game. And of course, people would water it down because it's 17 games now, and that makes sense. That's fair. But still, it's an incredible season that he's having, and he's going to make a heck of a lot of money whenever he gets paid. So I don't know. I'd probably end up picking the Falcons here, I guess. Maybe just because of their pass rush, oddly enough, and a young quarterback on the other side. But it should be a close game. So, all right, next we've got what might not be a close game. We've got the Browns going to play the Bengals. The Browns coming off of a disappointment where they won over the Steelers, but they didn't get the sack record for Myles Garrett. And I was disappointed. Of course, there were the accusations that, the Steelers were their only goal in that game was to keep Myles Garrett from getting the sack record. Winning wasn't even the goal. That's probably ludicrous, but here we are. So, and then the Bengals on the other side, obviously they're in kind of a similar boat to the Saints and the Falcons, where they've got their guy. They're not trying to tank for a quarterback. Obviously, they're trying to prove that they can be a good team. They just beat the candy out of my Cardinals last week. Yeah. So that's, they've got most of what they need to be a good team, and they've got everything they need to be a great offense. Can they string that together against a really good division? Well, not a good division opponent, but a good divisional opponent's defense. Yeah. And can they win this game in that weird setting? Go out on a high note. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's never a surprise to see the Bengals drop a lot of points. It's surprising that their defense, I think, played the way that they played, given their, the story of their season. The Browns obviously are not an offensive powerhouse. They're still trying to figure things out. But you would think, like, leading up to this, except for last week and maybe one other game, this is a good team to go figure some offensive things out against. I would love to see the Browns come out just kind of guns blazing in this one and see if they can make this a bit of a shootout from their side, but I seriously doubt it. So I'll take the Bengals here. I think that them winning this one pretty handily is fairly likely. I think a bigger question I have is, will Myles Garrett play this game? Only in the sense that I don't think he wants to win the sack record in a 17th game, but we'll see. I'll be curious. So, I'll stick with the Bengals.
Well, that will be the one really entertaining thing here. Other than that, like I said, I feel like the Bengals just want to end on a high note so that they can go into next offseason trying to fix the little problems rather than, Joe Burrow isn't having fun and the potential problems that idea brings. So for them, they should want to have fun in this game. Let's just say. So, All right. Next, we've got the Colts going to play the Texans. The Texans are in. I think they do have some playoff ramifications. I forgot exactly how all their tiebreakers work with the Jags. Like if the Jags somehow lose to the Titans, which you can see just below what we're looking at, the odds of that are beyond slim. But it's still probably in their best interest to try to win this game. On the other side of this, the Phillip Rivers little return tour, whatever, seems to have come to an end. And we're going back to Riley Leonard. So With all that being said, after the Colts started 8-2, now they're 8-8. Could they end 8-9? How do you have this one going?
Yeah, I mean, the Philip Rivers game would have been more entertaining by a ways. I know that they're probably disappointed is the right word that they weren't able to steal one and all of that, but um, I do think that he kept them in games, right? He kept them in games against really good opponents. I don't think very many people are ready to take on the Texans defense. Yeah, their defense is something else. So yeah, I think this one is pretty obviously the Texans game. I mean, I think they would really have to be trying to lose this one to lose it. I would think so.
Yeah, the division game shenanigans and throw a bunch of picks. That seems like how you lose this game. Maybe Jonathan Taylor goes out on a really high note, something like that, but it does feel unlikely at this point. So, all right, next we've got the Titans going to play the Jaguars, and our first and only, because this is week 18, projected 100% to 0. I don't even want to have my mouse over there. For a team, they are thinking the Jags are going to win. The Titans are, I don't know, expecting to lose, I guess. We've seen some lopsided games. I'm not really sure why this one would be 100 to 0. Unless I've missed something in the news where the Titans have already said they're not going to start any of their starters or something like that. I mean, I'm going to be playing quarterback. I'm not really sure what's going on there, to be completely honest. Maybe I missed some news, or maybe this is just Jags fans really coming on here and voting a lot. One way or another, do you agree with the 100% here?
I pretty much, yeah. I don't, like you said. I think the other place I saw was they had it 12.5 for Jacksonville. So I mean, obviously the Titans' big win this year has been against the Chiefs, but I think it was the Chiefs without Pat. So the Jaguars, they have games, and we saw one recently where we didn't see the best version of Trevor Lawrence, and they still pulled off a win. So I don't see very many universes where this one goes the Titans' way. I kind of see this more likely as a Jags come out hard in the first half, try to get up big, set some people for the remainder of the game so that they can stay healthy. Is the most likely scenario. Yeah, I'll take the Jags here.
Yeah, for sure the Jags are the better team. They're just more complete right now. The Titans may go in a really good direction in the upcoming seasons, but they're just not there yet. And that's kind of what the season was the whole time. So I'm not even not really a Titans fan, but kind of a Titans corner my eye watcher, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of happy with how their season went, all in all. So then we've got NFC North. We've got the Packers going to play the Vikings. Packers, it looks like, are going to be on Malik Willis again at this time, but we might have Jordan Love coming off of concussion protocol, so we'll see. They don't have tons to play for at this point. They're in the playoffs, the Packers, and the Vikings are out. So, but it's still a division rivalry. There are questions at quarterback. Malik Willis played really well last week when we saw him play, and in short periods of time that he's played, little stints, he has done well, but he's not a starting quarterback, and he's probably prone to make some mistakes here and there. There's a reason why they have Jordan Love in front of him. So who do you have winning this one?
I'll admit this one's tougher because it's Malik. There's the Malik version of the story. Like, hey, do the Packers have an offense that can even challenge the Vikings' really good defense? Really good defense. But it's also what happened to their defense. Like the Packers' defense didn't show, and so now they look under duress, and McCarthy starts to look better. So I don't know. This one's a tough one. If Malik is healthy-ish, and I'm not 100% sure where he is on all of that, like it's his right shoulder that was the problem, then that's a little bit of a concern in this one. I think that's my bigger concern in this is that combination of, is Malik really healthy, and what happened to the Packers defense? Can they hold the Vikings receivers from scoring? Even with that, man, there's a part of me that really wants to pick the Packers here, but I'm probably going to stick with the Vikings. It's the defense that I just can't overcome the concept of that defense holding holding Malik or really anybody right now to pretty low scoring and all of that. So yeah, I'll stick with the Vikings here.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes some sense. It's kind of a safer pick just in case, because it's not just in case
Yeah.
Jordan Love plays or just in case Malik Willis plays, but if neither one of them are able to go, or if he pulls his shoulder in practice and like warm-ups
Oh
or something
right.
like that, they are then relying on Desmond Ritter. And then
Yeah.
your pick for the Vikings is going to make a lot more sense, I think. So
Yeah.
again, it's also a division game. Can be some funny
Mhm.
shenanigans there, but we'll see. I would agree with you. The Vikings pick is the safer pick here. So. Okay, then we've got your Cowboys going to play the Giants, and for the first and only time, second time this year, I suppose. Is that even true? Yeah, I think that's true. I'm rooting against your Cowboys. Of course, I probably was at least somewhat when the Cardinals played you, but here, just for draft reasons, I'm kind of rooting for the Giants. But I feel like the Giants have a heck of a shot here. I will say they still have a good defensive line. And your offensive line showed some
Yeah.
vulnerabilities against Washington. You still won over Washington, but 6 sacks was uncharacteristic for your team. You haven't done that very often. So, that all being said, Cowboys are close to the healthiest they've been all year, which is great for them. Again, going into offseason, as I've mentioned with some other teams, where you are right now, you're not looking for a quarterback. You want to go into next season with optimism to attract other players like, hey, we're about to go on a run. We're going to be in the playoffs next year, that kind of thing. Do you have the Cowboys finishing with a win here?
I mean, I guess the obvious answer is yes, I do. I think the Cowboys, it doesn't look like we're not playing somebody and all that. Well, we're not playing Trayvon Diggs, but um, we're not going to be doing anything unusual here. So, New York came off a very good win against the rather bad Raiders. So it was a good win for them, and they have these great moments. Like they really do. I guess I'm hoping that Cam comes back next year healthy and they have an identity. And I just want to see them build on that. I don't appreciate them beating us early in the season. That loss became rather costly.
Right.
But I think that's yeah, I think that we end up pulling this one out. If we are not showing up to really play this game, we could get embarrassed. So yeah, I don't want us to overlook this at all. So yeah, I'll take Dallas in this one.
Okay. Yeah, my only hope here is if y'all, pull Dak at halftime or something like that, I feel like. So, but not for injury, just to pull him
Oh
maybe
yeah,
to avoid injury and that kind of
yeah,
thing. So we'll see. But
yeah.
again, just for draft reasons, I would root for the Giants to win here. But yeah, that's the only reason. So next, we've got the other New York team that I'll be rooting for. It looks like in futility. I've got the Jets going to play the Bills. The Bills, are still fighting for position in the AFC playoff picture. They are not going to win the East, but they want to be as high as possible. And so we've got them playing the Jets. The Jets really don't have much going on for them right now. That is I don't even know the right term. It just feels like a failed experiment for the year. And so I imagine Jets fans are really under it right now. Again, I would love so much if y'all could pull off a win this week just for me, but I'm sure that they don't even want to win, just like I don't with my Cardinals. So who you got here?
I mean, there's a part of me that thinks that if the Jets went up on the Bills, because again, the Bills don't really have anything to necessarily win here per se, that they might just say, "Hey, do what you want." But I think that's kind of what it would take is for the 20 points in the first half for the Jets, and something going wrong with the Bills for that to happen. This one really should be a pretty clean cut game for the Bills. I don't even anticipate that they will be particularly hard pressed at any point here. So I'll take the Bills.
Yeah. Yeah, they could theoretically climb up a bit. They're tied with a couple of other teams at 11-5. And so, they are a lock to make the playoffs, but I imagine climbing would do them some good. They might just rather play Pittsburgh. If they could climb all the way to 5, they need some help because I think they need Houston and the Chargers to lose. But they might rather play, Pittsburgh than getting thrown in against New England or Jacksonville. So we'll see. Then again, honestly, I think the Bills are the Bills, and they're going to play anyone super tough. So we'll see. All right. Then we've got our other NFC North matchup. We've got the Lions going to play the Bears. And if you had shown me these percentages at the beginning of the year, I'd have laughed. But
Sure.
this is what it is. The Lions, their offense still works pretty darn well most of the time, but their defense has kind of crumbled into something that looks like Arizona and Dallas and Cincinnati. And see, for once, I was nice there. I didn't just call you out. I called
Thank
out
you.
my team and another team. So
Much appreciated.
trying to break the trend here. Then the Bears on the other side, they have a somewhat surprising strength. After allowing, I think Caleb Williams got sacked either 68 or 76 times last year. I think 68 was the right number. They this year have one of the best pass protections in the league. So they went out and did what they were supposed to do. For once, the offseason champs thing that they went out and got an offensive line seems to have come together quite well. I'm mentally knocking on wood. I don't have any near me. My desk is made of something else. So, yeah, the Bears have done a great job there. The Lions have no defense, and that run game for the Bears seems like it is just poised to put up another 200, 250 yards. So who do you have winning here?
Yeah, boy, the Lions and this streak of games has just been not great. They played the Cowboys well, but then after that, just fell off completely. And they seem to be getting worse as time goes on. The Bears, on the other hand, have overachieved from I think what we anticipated them to do in that division. And what a strange division that is. They're all neck and neck, really, with them having broken out in the front. I think the Bears will win this game. I'll be interested to see how the Lions show up and what they show up as in this one, but I'll stick with the Bears. They find ways to win. I think that they're going to be a little bit, what's the term, anxious to show that they're ready to play given the outcome of their last game. I think that it'll be a good game still. So I'll take the Bears.
Yeah, it could be pretty fun. This should be one of the better afternoon games. One other fun little stat here, real quick before we go, is if Caleb Williams can get 270 yards, he will become the first Bears quarterback ever to have 4,000 yards in a season. And that one weird little blemish will be off of their record on their way to, hopefully for their sake at least, some playoff wins and all that other success. That'll be good for them. So good luck to Caleb Williams.
Yep.
All right. Next, we've got the Chargers going to play the Broncos. This feels like a bad matchup. Right off the hook, you've got the Chargers with, I think, the worst offensive line right now in the NFL. And I know some of that's due to injuries, maybe a lot of that's due to injuries, but it is what it is. Going against the Broncos and that vicious pass rush. They're both good teams, but I worry that that one thing is just a really bad match. So can the Chargers protect well enough to put up a solid showing against the Broncos? Because their defense should slow down the Broncos at least somewhat. I don't think the Broncos are about to put up 40 points on the Chargers defense.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that would be something. Who do you have winning here?
Yeah, I'm just hoping for a good game here. Honestly, I think the Broncos have been significantly more consistent. They just find ways to win. The Chargers are a good team. They've got a lot of things going for them. But I still think the Broncos, Sean Payton's going to want to close this out with a win heading into the playoffs and not let this slide. They're not desperate, I think, for this win. And I don't know if the Chargers are per se either. But yeah, I think the Broncos will pull this one out and stay kind of on their trajectory. But they can't make a lot of mistakes against the Chargers. I think the Chargers will be hungry to win.
Yeah, that could be interesting. They would theoretically lose. They could lose the 1 seed in the AFC if they lose this game and like the Patriots win. So, and I think if Jacksonville wins, they could drop all the way to 3. So they're going to be quite the shakeup if this weird chain reaction of things happens. So we shall see. But I agree with you. They should probably win this game. I just don't like the matchup with the Chargers O-line. So then we've got my Cardinals going to play the Rams. The Cardinals are we are pulling off losses at an incredible pace. I'd say good job, Cardinals, but I don't think that's actually what they're trying to do. So not so good job, Cardinals. Everyone's just kind of, all Cardinals fans are just looking to Monday to see what happens there. Word on the street is not as encouraging as we would like for it to be, but who knows? Then the Rams on the other side, I mean, they're still a team that looks like they're capable of beating any team, playoff or otherwise. Last week, Stafford has a bad game. He throws 3 picks. The Falcons get up early and are able to pull it off just barely. So they are still that team that can beat any team. It kind of reminds me of the Seahawks when the Seahawks play against the Rams. Darnold always has a bad game against the Rams for some reason. And they were still losing. They lost that game at the beginning of the year really close. So if they ever have a game where they're not throwing 3 or 4 interceptions, they might just run right over the Rams. Similarly, as long as the Rams don't throw 3 interceptions, as Stafford is healthy and upright and not throwing to the other team, I think they could beat any team in the NFL. So that all being said, do you have them beating my lowly Cardinals this week?
The shortest version of that is yes. I don't feel like they're playing better football. Like there were moments I feel like 4 weeks ago where it was like, man, or 5 weeks ago, I guess, can they be beat? Like they are so good. And then Carolina answered that question, but they've lost 3 of their last 5, and that's concerning with them going towards the playoffs and like, hey, can we get all this figured out? I think their biggest, yes, they should beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals, obviously, their trajectory has not been an upward one. And at this point in time, I think the last thing that they should want is a win. Sorry, Cardinals fans. But the last thing they should want is a win here. The biggest thing the Rams should want is to not get injured in this game. I think everyone will be happy with that outcome. So I'll stick with the Rams in this one.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right thing for this one. So we'll see. The Cardinals need some help to move up in the draft. As I've mentioned, I've talked about in a couple of the picks that we've made so far. But it is what it is. Right now we're at 5, and we don't want to drop any lower. So let's just go like this. Rams, go do your thing in the playoffs. We'll see what happens. Next, we've got the Chiefs going to play the Raiders. It's shocking that this is this close when you look. It's the Chiefs, but then the Raiders are right now are the number 1 pick, and I don't think they can drop any lower than 2, if I understand those websites correctly. Even if they win this game through some freak who knows what, it would just be baffling if they somehow won this. Brock Bowers is done for the season. They sent apparently a somewhat upset Max Crosby home last week, and he's not playing for the rest of the season. He may not be a Raider ever again. We'll see. The Raiders are probably waiting for Monday about as hard as my Cardinals are. But yeah, they're just looking forward to the draft and such. The Chiefs are reeling on the other side for injuries and such that we've talked about, of course. It looks more and more like, Patrick Mahomes really was carrying that team. But they still have some players on defense. We'll see what they are able to pull off here. Do you think that they go out on a win?
I'm going to take the Raiders here, actually. I think I'm just going to take the Raiders, partly because, yes, for all the reasons you just pointed out, they should not be effective, right? They're kind of the leader guys, the guys that you're following there. A lot of that's not going to be in this game. I think that's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for the guys who are coming in behind them to make it something here at the last part of their resume for the season. I think on the other side of the ball, the Chiefs have nothing to play for. They've looked absolutely terrible on offense in particular. Right now, they look like they would have competed with the Raiders for last place in that division hard had it not been for Pat, right? Like their offense, I was trying to look back over how many points have they scored in a game. They've not scored over 13 points in a game since Pat's out. There's nothing there. So do I think the Raiders can score 14 points and potentially? Yeah, absolutely. And I think the guys that are going to play for the Raiders, they're going to be more motivated than the ones playing for the Chiefs. I'm going to call a Raiders surprise here. Now, with all that being said, the last thing the Raiders should want to do is win this game organizationally, because what pick are they sitting at currently?
1.
Is that 1? So, they may put you and me in, who knows, and try to steal the deal. But outside of that, I'm gonna throw it out that they may they may get somebody fired and win this game. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
the Lovie Smith treatment.
Yeah,
It
the
worked
water
out.
boy comes into play. Yeah.
Right. It worked out for the Texans when that happened. They got CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I think I'd pick the Chiefs here, but I don't know why. There's no evidence as to why. Maybe I'm just still living in the past.
Well, it's like roster-wise, they are the better team.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think we can agree on that. It's like roster-wise, they're the better team. I just think they don't care right now.
Yeah, they're probably pretty discouraged, and I would be too.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, next we've got the Dolphins going to play the Patriots. This game is frequently ripe with shenanigans. With this is where we had the Miami. Well, it was in Miami, but like we had the Miami Miracle. But that like week 17, week 18, last game of the season between these two tends to bring out some weird happenings. I think it does happen more often when it's in Miami, but we'll see. The Patriots still riding high, still playing well, and they're going to want to try to win this game. We mentioned it earlier with if they can get the Broncos to lose somehow. Well, I mean, it's the Chargers. The Chargers are certainly not a bad team. They're going to be in the playoffs. But if they can get the Broncos to lose, then they will have the 1 seed overall if they can beat. I've lost it. Thank you. If they can beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins aren't playing for much of anything. They've played a little better in the last month, I feel like, but kind of inexplicably. Certainly not a good team. They're just not terrible. So who do you have winning here?
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins have played pretty well. But I still think that the Patriots have been phenomenal, even though it's a division matchup. I think the biggest thing I would think going into this game for the Patriots is, can we stay healthy? We need to win. Can we stay healthy and just wrap this up? I think that it'll be interesting to see how poised the Dolphins are to actually overcome that or win that in that scenario. They obviously can beat people like the Bucks, but the Patriots and the Bucks are certainly not like objects. So I'll stick with the Patriots here. Should be pretty clean win.
All right. Very good. Yeah, I would have to pick them as well. I think it'd be fun in some weird way if the Dolphins somehow win. I just love a good upset, but it just seems like the Patriots are playing well right now. Pardon me. And they actually have something on the line. So, yeah, they'll probably finish the season off strong, which is incredible to go 14-3 in year 2 with Drake May after being, I think, 4-13 last year. No, maybe that was the year before. Scratch that. I don't remember what they were last year. So, yeah, probably the Patriots. Next, we've got the Commanders going to play the Eagles. The Eagles, obviously heavily favored here. The Commanders, they played y'all fairly hard last week, but I'm not sure that they match up well right now against the Eagles defense and what they have going on. The Eagles offense is still sputtering at most of the time, but that defense of theirs is still quite powerful. So do the Commanders have any chance at the upset here, or is this just Eagles all the way?
I mean, judging by their game 2 weeks ago, I would judge that, yeah, the Eagles should win this pretty handily. Different quarterback for the Commanders, same general problem. I mean, they're just not a competitive football team. They're pretty beat up. So yeah, they should not win against the Eagles. They really shouldn't overly compete necessarily. I'd love to see something magical happen here, but yeah, it should be the Eagles. And the Eagles only scored 13 or 16 or something like that against the Bills, but the Bills are a lot better than the Commanders. So yeah, I'll stick with the Eagles here. It pains me to do.
Yeah, and the Eagles, they're a bit confusing, but again, their defense played well against the Bills. I know that the Bills made some strange choices in that game, but yeah, scored 13, won that 13-12 game. But yeah, their defense, I have no questions about their defense. So neither team really has a whole lot to play for. The Eagles could hypothetically move up to the 2 seed if the Bears lose and they win this game. But the odds of the Bears losing their game seemed kind of slim to me. So we'll see what the lines say about that. The Commanders can't fall below where they are, even with the win. They could rise if they get some cooperation from other teams in the draft. So we'll see. I would take the Eagles as well.
Yeah.
All right, closing things out. We've got the Ravens going to play the Steelers. I believe this is the win and get in scenario flat out. The Tampa and Carolina one has some complications. This is just a win and get in. Not really even sure who's playing better right now. I know DK Metcalf's nonsense has left the Steelers without a valuable weapon. If they get in, they will be happy to have him back in the wild card round. But the Ravens, I think people are riding something of a hype train. I don't say hype train's the wrong word, but the King Henry and what he just did this last week against Green Bay, that was impressive. And if that happens again, that will be one of the best closes out to a season that we've seen just about ever, except for I think he had back-to-back 200-yard games 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember what season that was. Yeah. But he is capable of doing that again. We'll see if he wants to run the ball 36 times in a single game again this year. Who do you have winning this game?
Yeah, this is a tough one, and it's an exciting one to think about, because it's like, it's one that has very direct implications, which I think is most of these are like who moves up a spot or down a spot, but this is like an in or out. So this should be a really fun one to end on. The shortest version of this I can think of is two things, which is that DK Metcalf may have single-handedly cost them their season, based on because they are not the same team without him. They really need him to be an effective mobile offense. They're going to really need someone else to step up. I want to say that Austin is also dinged up at best, so they're going to really need something to go their way in this. The Ravens dropped a lot of points, but it's can Derek come back and repeat performance is pushing it. I don't think he needs 200 yards for him to win this game, but I do think they need him to show up and play an effective game of football. So I'm going to stick with the Ravens. I feel like it's in their court to lose against what has become a suspended and banged up Steelers team at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So that's how I would call this one. What about you? You see it the other way?
I could see it going the other way, but I mean, that's just kind of what this is implying. I think if I were forced to put money on this game, I'd pick the same as you. If they can protect Aaron Rodgers a bit in this game, then maybe they'll have a chance. But yeah, their offense has not been dominant for most of the season. So we'll see what they're able to do here. I won't be shocked if the Steelers pull this one off. But either way, it'll be a great way to close out the regular season with this all or nothing kind of game. So, all right. Well, good times. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. These are our picks for Week 18. Sorry we didn't put up our record for the year and how we did. Roughly, I think we're at about 68% was what I saw, which isn't as high as what I was hoping would be. But I felt like there were some uncharacteristic upsets a lot this season. So, I mean, no one predicted the Bears would be this good. That's not true. Bears fans thought the Bears would be this good. Those kinds of things. So that's my excuse for why we didn't get more right is all on the Bears. So join us again sometime. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers. We would appreciate a like and a subscribe. So if you do want to join us again, it would certainly be appreciated. It would be appreciated also. So yeah, let us know in the comments what you think, how your team's going to do, or if you just want them to do something in the draft and just lose out like my Cardinals. So yeah, hope that you have enjoy the rest of the season and have a great day.